What is an adult problem you were not prepared for? How often you have to clean to maintain a clean house? Back hurting just from sleeping wrong, and from sitting wrong, and from doing housework and yard work, and from picking up dogs or kids or whatever life requires. The increasing speed of passing years. Having nieces only makes the problem worse. Their age and the perceived number of years past doesn't align at all for me. That's actually something your brain does. As you get older, your perception of time quickens. In some sense, time literally starts to go faster as you age. Remember how long things took when you were a kid? I think time goes by faster for me is because I spend too much time working and not noticing about everything else around me. When I do have time to stop and breathe, that's when I notice, oh, a month has passed already? I thought that was last week. I am in my 20s. Yup. 2019 absolutely flew by for me. I was working 6 days a week at around 70 hours. It all just turned into a blur. Quarantine though has felt like forever. In the best possible way. I know it's terrible circumstances that brought it about, but it's a break I really needed. Deciding what to eat for 3 meals a day 7 days a week. OMFG. So basic, so maddening with a so and kids in the mix. What would you like for dinner? What would you like for dinner? I'll eat whatever. What would you like for dinner? I like what you like. Fine, trail mix it is. Fucking torture. And, no, a strict daily menu planned in advance does not work. We refer to it as the ritual, which consists of opening the fridge and all the pantry cabinets, rejecting everything at least twice, and then going back to settle on something. Aging parents' pensive face. Definitely this one. I still remember being a little kid around 5 or 6 watching The Land Before Time and crying over Littlefoot's mom dying. I cried to my mom saying I didn't want her to go anywhere, and she said don't worry because it's something that won't happen for a really long time. Cut ahead almost 30 years and that time is almost here. I still remember it so vividly, and losing my parents is probably the scariest thing in my life. Seems like time flew by and I'm worried with how quickly it's all moving. Trying to make friends. Being social as an adult is rough, especially when your friends start moving away or having kids. Adults never actually growing up. Yay this. I used to look at 30-year-olds and be like they got it figured out. Now I am 30. I feel as useless as I did when I was 17. A lot of the time I feel more useless than at 17. Because at 17, I had ambition and aspirations. Now I feel burnout at 30, so the aspirations that egged me onwards are gone. Like, the enthusiasm for what's to come is just gone. Realizing some friends are shitty and you shouldn't be friends with them anymore. This right here. Shitty friends don't seem that bad when you're in high school. You see a bit more of toxic behavior in college, and then once you're in the real world you realize that type of energy isn't worth having in your life. Going from having tons of friends to really having no one. Even the few you have, if they get married and start popping out kids before you. I was a groomsman at my buddy's wedding and haven't seen him face to face in 2 years. First kid, back to college for his master's degree. House renovations have all kept him on lockdown. And now quarantine right when he finished his degree. Man, you really have to work at friendships in adulthood. I've got 3 proper friends left from school. 2 of them. My girlfriend is really friendly with their wives, so we meet up with all of us. The third dude, excluding his stag do and wedding, I've only seen him 3 times in the last 3 years. Thankfully we met up just before lockdown started. The best friends in life you can not see for ages, but when you meet up it's like you only just saw them the week before. You have to buy insurance but can never use the insurance or else no one will sell you insurance. Coming into adulthood and learning about insurance in America, it all just feels like a big scam, monsieur. Greater than it all just feels like a big scam, monsieur, I'd imagine, because in America, it is. How many adults I actually dislike. When I was younger, I thought my parents liked all our neighbors, all my teachers, all my coaches, etc. I've since found out that they thought most people were morons, kind of like I do. How quickly fruits and vegetables actually go bad when you buy them yourself. And you buy them thinking you're going to eat them, because they're good for you and you know that, because you're an adult. But there's always something else to eat and no one is making you eat your vegetables. Look up the cartoon panel. Crisper drawers. Where good intentions go to die. I lost my wife of 35 years. There is no way to prepare and really no way to describe that loss. How expensive lamps are, and dining room tables, and kids, and the things kids break, like lamps, and dining room tables. Falling in love at an older age but watching life speed by so fast. Wished I'd met her 30 years ago. All the choices you made led you to that love though smiley face. In my mind my mama should be about 40. She has always seemed to be so strong, but sometimes I want to fall apart when I see her take several attempts to stand up or make excuses about driving on the interstate. She will be 70 soon, but to me she is still young. I don't know what I'll ever do without her. I lost my mom 8 weeks ago. It's hard living without a parent. She was only 60, but I always thought of her as 42. She died before I had the chance to talk with her one last time. It was very unexpected. Give your mama a hug and tell her you'll drive her down the interstate to get her where she needs to go. The constant obsessive feeling that I'm fast running out of time to have an enjoyable life even though I'm only in my 20s. I'm 40. That feeling is real and you should listen to it. Do it now. You might not get the chance later. My great-grandmother said that she and my great-grandfather promised they would always take a cruise around the world after they retired. It never happened because life got in the way. But they could have done it when they were younger. Don't ruin yourself financially. But if you can do that crazy thing you always wanted to do, go do it. Make it happen. Edit. Let me be clear. Don't run off and put yourself in a bad situation. But if you can stretch yourself and spend a year overseas or build that car or live in that place, do it. Don't put yourself in $100,000 of debt you can't afford to have a good time. How expensive living is. I worked all through high school, but my only bill was the gas I put in my car. 30 hours a week on minimum wage goes a long way on shopping sprees and nail salons when you don't have any other expenses. I developed nasty spending habits. Not the value of a hard-earned dollar my parents were hoping for. I'm not in crippling debt or anything, but sometimes having to spend money on groceries or utilities depresses me more than it rationally should. My job is destroying my mental health, but I need a job so I can pay my bills. If I reduce my hours for better work-life balance, I lose my insurance during a global pandemic. This one right in the feels. My doctor has been telling me for about a year and a half that I should really be on disability because of my mental health, but I can't afford to wait for 2 years through the inevitable denial, reapply phase. And I also can't afford my income being cut by 75%. So, I'll just be over here, trying to keep my head above water when I really don't know how to swim, monsieur. Pain. Arthritis is fucking horrible, and early onset autoimmune arthritis is worse than just having an ache in 1 or 2 joints. I hurt all the time, everywhere, and everyone just assumes you're faking it or you're a pill popper. I am not going to live another 20 years with this pain like my dad did. And the worst part is when people say, you're too young to have arthritis. Yeah, I agree. I am way too young to have this shit. Still got it though. Turns out, you get fat from overeating. Bread makes you fat. ? Scott gained the power of self-respect. When you're not in school surrounded by your peers, meeting new people and making friends is much harder and in many cases almost impossible. And dating is a whole other ball game. Then again, for a lot of us that isn't too different from how high school was anyway. I found it easier to make friends at work than at school. At work, everyone I'm around is more or less like-minded and we have at least one thing in common. In school I was made so miserable by the system that I really didn't connect with anyone. Having others rely on you is an emotional ballast. I can barely stay sane myself, let alone carry someone else. When I was young, that seemed very romantic. The idea of everyone being so sad about you being gone and regretting every wrong against you. Now I have way too many responsibilities to die. I have seen how loss really affects the people I love and would never want to subject them to that. Crippling loneliness and romantic rejections. My heart is just dead, and now I feel empty inside. The lack of time for myself. Life is all work, housework, yard work, childcare, bills, emails, phone calls. What's funny is that I have so much more free time now as an adult. Single with no kids that I know of, and it still doesn't feel like enough. No homework, no silly adult projects, renovating bathrooms, etc. No extracurriculars that take up a load of time. And yet every night once I'm done eating dinner it's like, damn it, I have to go to bed in a few hours. When I was pregnant with my first child, I heard on the radio that the average mother had an hour of free time each day. I didn't believe it. How could anyone only have 1 hour a day? 7 years and 3 kids later. Yep, lucky to get an hour a day to watch TV. And that's often combined with folding laundry and stuff like that. So it's barely even free time. And people wonder why I don't want kids. Just how hard it is to lose weight once you're past your 20s. I was in no way prepared for the fact that one dark, horrific day I would sit on my own balls. Which is definitely something someone should have mentioned. It left me feeling different somehow. No one telling you to stop procrastinating. Many Redditors mention the 5-minute rule to fight procrastination. Basically, if something takes 5 minutes or less to complete, just do it. It creates momentum and it might encourage you to complete tasks that require more time. Being able to not cook the same meal every day while balancing hundreds of other tasks. I will always admire my mom for how she was able to cook, have a clean house, work 43 hours and help her children do homework, all while taking time to work out at the end of every day. I could mention other common problems like money management and common tasks that I haven't mastered. But what really hit me like a train was the actual transition of adulthood. I am talking about having to make my own appointments and having to keep tabs on myself instead of handing every single document to my monsieur. I realized how unorganized I was when I found my birth certificate in the same drawer where I have junk receipts. Greater than I realized how unorganized I was when I found my birth certificate in the same drawer where I have junk receipts. Hi, I'd like to return this child. Yes, I know he's 30 years past the return date. Can I speak to the manager? Quote, hi Karen, we don't do returns. And the manager is just laughing. How fucking dark life actually is. Like, is this all we do? Just grind away at jobs we try to care about, but no one else cares about. Barely able to afford our bills, houses, debts. Constantly struggling with relationships and trauma and watching our political system fail us. Our country fail us. Our systems fail us. Like, this life is not what happy adolescent me dreamed it would be. Sorry to get real dark on y'all. No one else is going to kill that bug. Having to have a genuine purpose in life. There's none, just enjoy the ride. Cliques and bullies are just as bad in the office as they were in school. As you got older, isn't it easier to call them out? I have no problem with throwing a bully's behavior in their face and watching them try to justify being a dickhead. Next time someone says something mean to you, just try it. It's amazing to see a 40-year-old man look completely lost when you ask him why he thinks only poor people eat flatbread and hummus. Like, WTF Greg, it tastes good. It's not my fault your fat ass doesn't understand why everyone isn't drinking Mountain Dew and eating Snickers. Fucking bipedal elephant. Oh, Trust me, I do that. In my last job, the bully was my boss. And things kept escalating between us until she fabricated some incidents on my review to build a case for firing me for performance reasons. I found a new job almost immediately, before she could fire me, and made a detailed report to HR. She also harassed me for a medical condition I have, and basically the entire team went to HR on my behalf to validate my story. The company has done nothing and she is still terrorizing the team. Monsieur, the fact is, if bullying is built into the culture of a company, the bullies will always win, no matter how much you call them out. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.